Next, we're going to hear from Fred Presley. He is the town manager, town manager for the town of West Warwick. And I like to say he's like the rock star in the municipal world for really taking responsibility as a town to be energy responsible. So here he is.
Thank you very much. So in addition to being town manager, I also serve with Bridget on the EC4 advisory board. So I'm the chair. Bridget is secretary, maybe soon to be co-chair. But in West Warwick, when I took over as city manager, prior to that I was planner and economic development director. And when I took over as town manager about 3.5 years ago, I set a goal for the town to be the greenest community in the state. And since then, we've done several initiatives. As of this week, actually, we became the first community in Rhode Island to have 100% renewable electricity for all town buildings, including all schools and our wastewater treatment facility. And we did that by the voters approving overwhelmingly, almost 80% approval on a full-day referendum to purchase, it was an $18 million bond referendum to purchase 3 1.5 megawatt wind turbines, which are spinning now in western Coventry. And we also put solar on top of our ice rink and field house buildings in our high school complex. So those are major initiatives. Both of those projects were funded through state programs. The wind turbines, one of the 3 turbines, $18 million project, so $6 million per turbine. One of those turbines is funded through the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank, which was established by the legislature. It was funded, it was through, they bonded it on our behalf, because West Warwick is a distressed community. So to do these types of projects is very challenging for any community, but for a distressed community, it's even more challenging. So we built into our pro forma very high interest rate because of our bond rating issues. The Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank funded one of those turbines, and so we get a much reduced interest rate because of that, saving us tens of thousands of dollars every year, which only will help us to prove that this works. So for the town of West Warwick, not only does it provide all of our electricity, what we project for savings, so right now for the entire town we pay about $1.5 million a year in electricity bills before we flip the switch this week. We will be paying less than that for the debt service and the operations and maintenance on those 3 turbines. So over 20 years, if you just project average electricity increases, and that 20 years is the debt service time frame, we're looking to save around $40 million over that 20-year period. So in addition to that, the environmental benefits are obvious. You know, we're talking just in the first 10 years alone, 80,000 tons of carbon dioxide will be taken off as a result of this project. So that's the equivalent of taking 16,000 cars off the road. Okay, and that's one town, and a very small town at that. We're 8 square miles. We're 30,000 in population, 8 square miles. In addition to that, we are in the process now of, we have a closing for purchasing all of our streetlights. We're working with Prism down in South County. We're going to purchase all of our streetlights from National Grid and convert all of them to LED over the next 3 months. That's about 2,200 lights, streetlights. And we're expecting to see substantial savings off of that. We're also going to be putting smart meters on all of them, so we'll be able to control every light from our computer terminals. We can raise or lower depending on the time of year. If there's an emergency event, we can strobe to give people a direction. It gives us a lot of control, but ultimately it reduces our energy costs substantially. Right now we pay well over $350,000 a year for streetlight energy and whatever you want to call it, maintenance fees to National Grid. When we're done with this project, even with the debt service, we'll be saving over $100,000 a year on that project. So it's just another example of, if you truly try to find solutions to things, you can, and ultimately it might actually save you a lot of money. And to be quite honest, the selling of this project and both of these projects was the money. I mean, more than anything, the residents heard the money, but the environmental benefits are substantial. Again, this project the streetlight project is funded through the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank. So we're bonding through them the money to get this, because again, it gives us that much reduced rate. So instead of paying 4% interest, we're paying like 2.25%, which is substantial when you're talking about millions of dollars on a project like this. So I just think it's important to realize, one final project I should mention, the solar on top of the ice rink in the field house. We received grants, a total of 4 grants, 2 per building. 2 grants from Commerce Rhode Island in their renewable energy program, and 2 grants from the Office of Energy Resources in Rhode Island for their educational renewable energy program. So those projects, all the solar panels are, as of this week, are up on the buildings. They're wiring them now, and they'll be feeding into the grid probably in the next 3 weeks, and that will be feeding directly to the schools. So that, again, combined with the wind turbines, allows us to get that to that 100% level. We actually expect to be selling back to the grid some energy. It's not going to be a ton, because we didn't want to buy another turbine at $6 million a piece. But it just shows you that ultimately, you know, and I tell this to everybody, if West Warwick can do this, anybody can. And we had complete council support, a 5-0 vote to put it on the ballot. And again, 80% of those that came out voted in support of these projects. So we're well on our way, probably beyond where we need to get to meet some of the goals that Bridget talked to. But we're not going to stop there. I mean, we have initiatives now. We're looking to be the first town in the state to have a stormwater utility district, because that to me is our next, elephant in the room, the major liability that we as communities have to deal with. But from an environmental perspective, it's massive, particularly in an old mill town with 100-year-old, 150, 200-year-old.
Alabama.
Hey, I love Alabama. I'm from there. But it's something that I think, again, any community can do this. It's a matter of getting the support, generating support, educating the public about the benefits, both economically and then environmentally. And I think you can combine those and really create positive results. So I thank you for listening.
Let me add just one word to what my friend here said. He was talking about his projects being funded in part through the Renewable Energy Fund. That was an equity priority in 2004. And he was talking about the wind turbines that they put up to offset 100% of their electricity expenses for the town, for the municipality. That net metering law was an equity priority in 2009. And it's the same equity renewable energy net metering law that got those 3 Narragansett Bay Commission turbines in Fields Point up and running. Those of you who are in the NBC sewer district are saving $1 million a year on those 3 turbines that came from an equity priority in 2009 on net metering. So all these things are marrying together in a very, very constructive way.
And I would just say,